The Council had always laughed at humans. In the vast expanse of the galaxy where countless civilizations thrived, humans were a minor, noisy species barely worth noticing. Their technology was crude, their diplomacy chaotic, and their bodies fragile compared to the countless engineered species who had long since conquered death and disease. The Galactic Council, composed of the wisest and most powerful beings in known space, often mocked them in their sessions. Yet, they did not understand humans. They had never watched a human mother shield her child from a storm with nothing but her body. They had never seen a human mind push through pain, hunger, and fear to invent, survive, or defy the impossible. They had never faced humans in a war of survival. On the remote planet of Arcadia, a human research team worked quietly beneath the flickering light of their laboratory. The Council had labeled their project futile, a meaningless attempt to alter the very laws of life and death. But the humans worked tirelessly, driven by something the Council could never understand. Hope. Hope mixed with stubbornness. Hope sharpened by desperation. Dr. Elena Morris, the project leader, stood before a glowing containment field that pulsed like a heartbeat. She had spent years studying the boundaries of life, and tonight she was closer than ever to breaching them. Around her, other scientists adjusted dials and monitored readings, their faces tight with concentration. Every second was critical. Every error could cost them their lives. A low hum filled the lab as the energy field stabilized. Elena's fingers hovered over the console, trembling slightly, not from fear but from anticipation. The Council had declared humans weak, limited, and mortal, and tonight she intended to prove them wrong. Outside the lab, the night sky of Arcadia glimmered with the trails of distant stars. No one could see the quiet pulse of the experiment, the tiny sparks of rebellion against death itself. But in the Council chambers far across the galaxy, a different kind of pulse stirred, an uneasy curiosity that humans might, just might, achieve what no one thought possible. Elena activated the final sequence. The field shimmered and shifted, wrapping around the small organism at its center. A human cell modified to resist the natural decay of time. For months, her team had perfected the sequence. For years, humanity had dreamed of it. Energy levels stable, whispered her assistant Marco, eyes wide. We're holding it. Elena's lips curled into a faint smile. Hold, and let's see if they are ready to learn what humans can do. Suddenly, alarms blared. The containment field flickered violently, casting the lab in erratic shadows. Red lights pulsed, bathing the scientists in a crimson glow. Elena's heart raced. This was unexpected, but not necessarily bad. The energy readings were higher than predicted, far beyond any human calculations. Something was happening, something alive, something powerful. The air seemed to thicken. Marco stumbled backward, his face pale. Dr. Morris. The field. Before he could finish, the containment field expanded outward, engulfing the lab in a soft golden light. The scientists felt a strange warmth, a feeling of life intensifying as though every cell in their bodies had been whispered a secret. And then, as quickly as it had begun, the light vanished, leaving the lab silent but altered. Elena touched the console, checking the readings. Her mind raced. It had worked. Somehow, impossibly, it had worked. The experiment had not just slowed decay, it had reversed it, even temporarily. Humans were no longer just mortal. They had touched the edge of immortality. Miles away, the Council received the first alerts. They had sensors across the galaxy designed to monitor human activity. They saw the spike, the sudden burst of energy unlike anything a human had ever produced. Members of the Council whispered urgently, their laughter gone, replaced with alarm. One voice, deep and resonant, broke the silence. Have they done it? Yes, another replied. They have meddled with forces no species should touch. They have tampered with death itself. The Council convened an emergency session. Screens flickered with images of Arcadia, of the lab, of the humans whose curiosity had just shaken the foundation of galactic order. For the first time in centuries, the Council felt fear, not of a weapon, not of rebellion, but of a species they had so thoroughly underestimated. Back on Arcadia, Elena did not know she had just declared war on death itself. She only knew that humanity had reached farther than any had dared to dream. The night outside was calm, indifferent to the tremors of destiny occurring within the lab. As the team celebrated quietly, unaware of the storm their success would bring, The shadows outside the lab shifted. Figures moved silently across the rocky surface, observing, waiting. The council would respond. They always did. But humans would not wait. For the first time, the galaxy might witness what humans were truly capable of, and the council, who had mocked them for millennia, would soon discover the terrifying truth. Humans did not fear death. Humans challenged it. The war had already begun, though neither side fully understood it yet. The council was in chaos. For centuries they had watched over the galaxy, enforcing rules and maintaining order. They had dealt with countless species, each with their own ambitions and wars. But humans were different. Unpredictable, stubborn, dangerous. From their high chambers, the council observed the readings from Arcadia. The humans' energy spike was unlike anything they had ever seen. It wasn't a weapon, not in the usual sense. It wasn't a fleet of starships or a virus designed to destroy planets. It was life, pure, unbounded, challenging the laws the council had spent eons perfecting. This cannot continue, the deep voice of the elder Rinthos said. His tone was sharp, metallic with authority. If they succeed, all our work, every achievement in engineering life, every control over mortality becomes irrelevant. They must be stopped. The other members murmured in agreement, fear creeping into their ancient voices. They had always mocked humans. They had always assumed humans would never reach beyond their fragile existence. And yet here they were, proving the council wrong with a single experiment. Meanwhile, on Arcadia, Elena and her team were still celebrating quietly. The lab was humming with energy, the monitors flickering with data that didn't fully make sense. They were exhilarated, but a part of them knew this was bigger than any of them had imagined. Dr. Morris, Marco said, his excitement tempered by worry. What we just did, it's not just a cure. It's dangerous. The council. They'll notice. Elena nodded, her eyes bright with determination. I know, but think about it. They always thought humans were weak, that we could never challenge the natural order. Tonight, we proved them wrong. Across the planet, unknown to the humans, subtle disturbances began to appear. Instruments outside the lab detected faint energy pulses that didn't match the usual planetary readings. Small, almost imperceptible shifts in time and matter rippled around Arcadia. It was as if the experiment had left a tiny crack in reality itself, a crack that even the council could sense. Back in the council chambers, strategies were already forming. Containment is impossible, one member said. They are too widespread, too unpredictable. No, another replied, her voice colder than the void of space. We cannot contain them. We must confront them directly. Send emissaries, observe, if necessary, destroy. Elena didn't yet understand the gravity of what she had unleashed, but her instincts, sharpened by years of survival, told her that the world or the galaxy was about to change forever. Days passed. Communications from the council were intercepted by human monitoring satellites. Elena read the messages carefully, her heart beating faster with each line. The council was mobilizing, not against a weapon, not against a rebellion, but against life itself, as the humans had touched it. We have to prepare, Elena told her team. Whatever comes, we cannot hide. They will try to intimidate us, but we've already changed the rules. We can't go back now. Outside, the sky began to shimmer unnaturally. Arcadia's stars flickered as though the universe itself were holding its breath. The humans watched in awe and fear, unaware of the full scale of their experiment's reach. The first council emissaries arrived quietly, unseen by the human team. Cloaked in energy fields, they scanned the lab, observing every detail, every pulse of the experimental field. They whispered in tones humans could not hear, debating how to react. Elena sensed them almost immediately. Her instinct screamed that something was wrong. She had felt a disturbance, a presence unlike any normal threat, yet she remained calm, moving with purpose. The council thinks they can intimidate us, she said quietly to Marco. But they have never met humans like us. They have no idea what we are capable of when pushed to the edge. As night fell over Arcadia, the experiment's energy continued to pulse, brighter and more powerful than before. It was no longer just science. It was evolution. Life itself had begun to adapt, responding to human will in ways that defied logic. Then, without warning, the lab's systems flickered violently. The containment field expanded suddenly, faster and stronger than before. Alarm screamed, red lights bathing the room. Elena's team froze, staring as the golden glow of the experiment enveloped them once again. But this time it was different. The energy reached outward, forming shapes in the air, shapes that seemed alive, conscious, almost sentient. A voice whispered, not through sound, but directly into Elena's mind. "You have begun. We will not forget." The words sent chills through her body. She knew instinctively that this was not human, not council. Something else had awakened. Something that had always existed alongside life but had never been touched. Marco grabbed her arm. "Dr. Morris, what is that?" Elena shook her head, her eyes fixed on the glowing energy. "I don't know, but it's part of what we've created, and now it's watching us." Far across the galaxy, the Council sensed the same thing. The experiment had not only challenged death, it had awakened something older, something that no one had ever controlled. Their fear grew, deep and gnawing, as they realized humans had not just tampered with mortality. They had reached beyond the galaxy's oldest boundaries. And somewhere deep in the shadows of Arcadia, the first Council emissaries prepared to act. They did not know exactly what humans had unleashed. They only knew one thing. The balance of life and death as they had understood it for eons was broken. The war had begun, but neither side fully understood its scale. And humanity, stubborn and unpredictable, had just made its first move. The golden glow lingered in the lab, almost like a living heartbeat. Elena and her team stared in awe, their excitement mixed with fear. The energy from the experiment was no longer confined to machines or cells. It had a presence, a will. "We need to understand it," Elena whispered. This is beyond science. It's alive in a way we didn't predict." Marco nodded, but his hands shook. "If it's alive, what happens if it doesn't like us?" Elena didn't answer. She knew instinctively that fear would slow them down. Humans had never thrived by being afraid. They thrived by facing impossible odds, by pushing boundaries that others would not dare touch. The energy pulsed again, forming subtle patterns in the air. Some shapes resembled symbols, ancient and unreadable. Others seemed almost human, but distorted, as if filtered through a lens of something older than the galaxy itself. Suddenly, the lab's instruments flashed violently. Data streamed faster than the scientists could process. The modified cells were evolving at an unprecedented rate. Time seemed to bend around them. A single second in the lab felt like minutes, minutes like hours. Elena realized the truth. The experiment was not just resisting death. It was rewriting life itself. Humans had touched the edge of evolution, and now evolution was responding. Far away, the council convened once more. The chamber was tense, the elders' ancient faces grim. "They are not just humans," Rinthos said, his voice resonating through the room. "They are something else now. Something dangerous. We cannot allow this to continue unchecked." A younger member spoke, his tone sharper than the others. "Do we destroy them? Do we strike now before it spreads?" "No," Rinthos replied. "We observe, we study, and we prepare. Humans must never understand the true scale of what they've awakened. If they do, there will be no stopping them." Back on Arcadia, the humans were unaware that they were already under surveillance. Cloaked emissaries moved silently around the planet, monitoring, recording, calculating. Every pulse of the energy field was logged, every fluctuation analyzed. Elena moved closer to the field. "We need to push further," she said. "We've proved we can manipulate life. But this can become something greater, something that can protect humanity." The team hesitated, but curiosity and determination won over caution. They adjusted the controls, increasing the energy input. The field responded immediately, expanding outward in waves, wrapping the lab in golden light that made their skin tingle and their minds hum. Then the whispers returned. Not audible, but inside their heads. "You are not alone." Elena froze. The voice was not threatening, but it carried power, intelligence, knowledge. "Who are you?" she asked aloud. Silence. Then a single thought formed in her mind. "We are the Watchers. You have opened the door. Do not close it." The word sent chills down her spine. Humans had always questioned the universe. Now the universe was answering, though not in ways they could fully understand. Outside, the planet shifted subtly. Gravity seemed to fluctuate, the air thickened, and faint ripples appeared in the sky. The experiment's influence was spreading, touching the planet itself. Marco stepped back, fear overtaking him. Dr. Morris, I think we're doing too much. We don't know what this is. Elena placed a hand on his shoulder. We are already in it. There's no turning back. The council will come, yes, but we are not defenseless. Whatever this is, will protect us if we guide it. Suddenly the lab door shuddered. Energy rippled across the room, knocking equipment off tables. The golden glow coalesced into a humanoid figure, shimmering, faceless, impossible. It moved with grace, observing them without speaking. Elena's heart raced. She realized that the experiment had become sentient, a being born from human ambition and something far older. The figure extended a hand toward her, not threatening, but inviting. A warmth spread through her chest, a sense of connection she could not explain. We are yours, the figure communicated, not with words but through thought. We follow those who dare to defy the natural order. Outside, the council's emissaries tightened their approach. Reports of unusual energy fluctuations from Arcadia had escalated into alerts. They did not understand the experiment fully, but they knew it was no longer just science, it was power. Raw, uncontrollable power, tied to humans in a way they had never predicted. And back inside the lab, Elena and her team watched the golden figure settle into a stable form. It was alive, conscious, and connected to the experiment. It responded to human will, but its intelligence hinted at knowledge far beyond their comprehension. Elena knew one thing with certainty. Humans had crossed a line that no one in the galaxy had ever crossed before. They had not only defied death, they had awakened something ancient, something that could change the very fabric of life itself. The council would come. They always did. But this time, humanity had allies no one could see. Allies born from ambition, curiosity, and defiance. The war for life, for survival, and for destiny itself had truly begun. And for the first time, humans were not just participants in the galaxy. They were players who could rewrite its rules. Arcadia's night was alive with energy. The golden glow of the experiment pulsed across the lab like a heartbeat, stretching outward into the surrounding terrain. Elena and her team watched as the sentient figure, now fully formed, moved through the lab with purpose. It responded to every command, every subtle thought, as though it were an extension of human will. But outside, shadows moved with lethal precision. The council had finally acted. Their emissaries, cloaked in layers of energy shields and advanced technology, approached Arcadia silently. They had one mission: contain or destroy the humans before their experiment could spread beyond the planet. Elena sensed the intrusion instantly. Her instincts, honed by years of research and survival, screamed danger. They're here, she whispered. Marco froze, his eyes wide. The council. They're coming for us. The golden figure turned toward the entrance, its faceless head tilted as if acknowledging the threat. Then, with a sudden pulse, the energy field expanded, creating a barrier that shimmered in the night. The council emissaries halted, their sensors recording readings far beyond any known limits. Elena's heart raced. It's protecting us, she murmured. It understands. The first emissary moved forward, breaking through the edge of the energy barrier. A bolt of energy shot from the figure, striking the intruder. The council operative screamed, but it was not a normal sound. It was a vibration felt in every human bone. The figure stepped closer, pulsing with intensity, and the emissary vanished in a flash of golden light. The remaining emissaries hesitated, analyzing the threat. They were skilled, trained for countless conflicts across the galaxy, but nothing had prepared them for this. They had underestimated humans for centuries, and now that mistake could cost them everything. Elena took a deep breath. We need to push it further. Control it. If we hesitate, they'll overwhelm us. Marco shook his head. We don't even know what it is. How can we control something like this? Elena's eyes narrowed. We don't control it. We guide it. Humans survive by adapting. That's what we're doing now. Outside, the council convened a rapid strategy session. Their energy is beyond containment, one elder said. We cannot strike directly. We must neutralize them indirectly, through fear, through isolation. No, Rinthos replied, his voice deep with fury. We cannot underestimate them. Humans do not respond to fear. They respond to challenge. Prepare the fleet. Send everything we have. Arcadia must fall. Back in the lab, Elena watched as the figure pulsed brighter, sensing the incoming threat. It moved like liquid light, spreading through the lab and connecting with the humans themselves. Every cell in their bodies seemed to resonate with the energy, enhancing their strength, their focus, their courage. The emissaries struck again. Waves of energy, weapons designed to suppress life itself, tore through the air, but every attack was absorbed, redirected, and neutralized by the golden figure. It moved faster than thought, reacting before the humans could even perceive danger. Elena realized something vital. This entity was not just protecting them, it was learning from them. Every tactic, every fear, every hesitation, they were teaching it. And in return, it was teaching them how to push the limits of life itself. The sky above Arcadia shimmered as the Council's fleet entered orbit. Massive ships capable of annihilating entire continents prepared their weapons, but the golden figure had already sensed them, sending ripples of energy upward, disrupting communications, disabling shields, and creating chaos among the invaders. "This isn't just defense," Elena said, awe in her voice. "It's evolution. We're not just surviving, we're changing how life reacts to threat." The first attack wave struck the planet's surface. Massive explosions rocked the terrain, sending debris and dust into the sky. But the lab remained untouched. The golden figure moved outward, forming a protective dome, absorbing the energy and converting it into pulses that invigorated the humans inside. Outside the lab, Council emissaries regrouped. "They are stronger than we thought," one said. "The energy? It's alive. It's learning." "Yes," another replied, "and it follows them. Not just the experiment, it follows their will. Humans have forged a weapon out of life itself." Inside, Elena's team felt a strange exhilaration. The danger was immense, but so was their power. They were no longer just researchers. They were catalysts, guiding a force that could challenge the very laws of the galaxy. Elena took a deep breath. "This is only the beginning. The Council believes they can stop us with ships and weapons, but they cannot stop what we've begun. They cannot stop humans." The golden figure pulsed one last time, brighter than ever. A shockwave radiated outward, shaking the Council fleet and sending their ships spinning in orbit. On the planet, the ground vibrated as though alive. Arcadia itself seemed to recognize the humans' defiance. Rinthos's voice echoed across the Council chamber. "This is no longer a skirmish. This is war. And humans have declared it first." Back in the lab, Elena watched the figure settle, shimmering with quiet intensity. It was not just protection, it was promise. Humanity had crossed a line that no one in the galaxy could ignore. And the fight was only beginning. The golden figure looked at Elena as if understanding her thoughts. And in that moment she knew. The next move was hers. Humanity had awakened a force beyond comprehension, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The war for life had begun, and humans were ready. Arcadia trembled under the might of the Council's fleet. Ships larger than mountains hovered above the planet, their weapons poised to strike. Energy beams tore through the atmosphere, scorching the ground, sending rivers of molten rock across the plains. But the humans in the lab felt no fear. They had grown with their creation, the golden entity, and now it responded to their will. Elena stood at the center of the lab, her eyes reflecting the shimmering energy around her. "We're not just defending ourselves anymore," she said. "We're taking the fight to them. We're showing the galaxy what humans can do." Marco shook his head, still awed by the power around them. We're alive in ways no one expected. But can we control this? Can we fight an entire fleet?" Elena smiled, determination hardening her features. "Control is not enough. We guide it, we push it. That is what makes humans dangerous. We never stop. We adapt, we survive, and tonight we will prove it." The golden figure pulsed, moving beyond the lab. Its energy flowed outward, connecting with the planet itself. Mountains shifted slightly. Rivers of light surged, and the ground beneath the Council's fleet began to react. Sensors on their ships detected strange vibrations. Time itself seemed to twist. Rinthos, watching from the flagship of the fleet, frowned. "They are no longer confined to the lab. The humans are spreading their, whatever that is, across the planet. It's altering the very environment." "Yes," another Council member said. "It's learning from them. They are not just human, they are catalysts. And the force they have awakened is growing stronger with every second." On the planet, the first wave of attacks reached the lab. Energy beams slammed into the golden barrier, But they were absorbed, amplified, and sent back in waves that disabled the Council ships. Each strike that the humans endured made them stronger. The golden entity pulsed with life, growing in intelligence and power. Elena focused her mind. She realized she could communicate with the entity directly now, not through speech but through thought. Guide the attack toward their weakest point, she imagined. The figure responded immediately, sending a pulse upward toward the flagship. The Council flagship shuddered. Energy surged through its hull, systems failing one by one. The fleet's commanders panicked. They are attacking us directly. How is this possible? They have no ships capable of such destruction. Elena laughed softly, exhilaration coursing through her veins. They've always underestimated us, she said. They think humans are small, fragile, limited. But we are. Unstoppable when we refuse to die. The golden entity surged again, now projecting hundreds of smaller pulses toward the remaining ships. Each pulse was precise, calculated, almost intelligent in its trajectory. Ships exploded silently in orbit, their remnants falling like meteor showers across the planet. Marco's jaw dropped. We're actually winning. Elena's eyes glinted. We're not just winning. We're proving something no one thought possible. Humans survive when the universe says they can't. Humans create when the universe says it's impossible. And humans fight when death itself is challenged. The Council, meanwhile, struggled to respond. Their ancient technologies perfected over millennia were failing. Humans had awakened something that could not be measured, predicted, or contained. Fear replaced arrogance, and chaos spread through their ranks. Rinthos slammed his fist against the console. We have underestimated them. Prepare a concentrated strike. Do not hold anything back. If we fail, everything we have built, is at risk. Back on Arcadia, the humans felt the change in the atmosphere. The golden entity pulsed faster, responding to their emotions, their intent, their drive. They were no longer just defending themselves, they were asserting humanity's place in the galaxy. Elena lifted her hands. Now focus everything. Strike with me. The entity responded instantly, energy surging outward like a living storm. Ships disintegrated, weapons backfired, and the Council fleet was thrown into chaos. For the first time, humans were not victims, not experiments. They were masters of a force that challenged the very foundations of the galaxy. The lab shook, debris flying, but the humans stood firm. The golden figure encircled them protectively, resonating with their determination. It had become an extension of human will, a living testament to their perseverance, their ingenuity, and their refusal to bow to forces greater than themselves. Rinthos's voice trembled as he watched from the flagship. They are not just surviving. They are becoming something else. Something beyond our control. Elena looked out at the chaos, her heart pounding. She understood now what humans were capable of when pushed to the edge. Not just survival, not just defiance, but evolution itself. They were changing life, changing the rules, and proving to the galaxy that humans were not to be mocked or dismissed. The battle raged through the night, but for the first time, humans were not hiding. They were fighting back. They were asserting themselves. They were proving that no matter how the universe tried to suppress them, humanity would rise. And somewhere deep in the shadows, the Council realized a terrifying truth. Humans had not only touched the edge of immortality, they had become something far more dangerous. Something that could not be predicted. Something that could not be stopped. The war was far from over, but humanity had made its first undeniable mark on the galaxy. The sky over Arcadia burned with energy. The Council's fleet, once confident and unyielding, lay scattered across the planet's orbit, crippled by the golden force that humans now commanded. Yet Elena knew the battle was far from over. The Council would not surrender, they never did. Inside the lab, the golden entity pulsed, more alive than ever. It moved with purpose, almost sentiently, its energy now intertwined with every human present. Elena could feel it responding to her thoughts, her intentions, her will. Humanity and the Force were no longer separate, they were one. We've pushed them back, Marco said, awe in his voice. But Rinthos? He won't give up. They'll come again, bigger, stronger. Elena nodded. Then we will be ready. They have always underestimated us. And they will learn once and for all that humans do not fear death. Humans challenge it. Miles above, the Council convened an emergency. Ships were destroyed, communications failing, and reports flooded in of strange phenomena spreading from Arcadia. time distortions, environmental shifts, and bursts of energy that defied physics. The Council had underestimated humans, badly. Rinthos slammed his fist on the console, his voice low and furious. They have awakened something we cannot control. They have merged with it. And it follows them. Humans are no longer just a species, they are a force of nature. Yes, another elder said, voice trembling. We cannot fight them conventionally. Every attack we launch strengthens them. We are facing not soldiers, not weapons, but evolution itself. Back on Arcadia, Elena stared out at the glowing horizon. The golden entity hovered, radiant, a bridge between life as it was and life as it could be. It had absorbed the planet's energy, learned from every attack, and now pulsed with the knowledge of survival itself. Elena raised her hand. Guide them, she thought. The entity responded immediately, sending waves of energy across the planet's surface. Trees glowed, rivers shimmered, and the air seemed alive. Every living being felt the pulse of life, a connection to humanity's defiance. Then came the Council's final move. From orbit, a massive ship descended, larger than anything the humans had ever seen. Its weapons glowed with destructive power, designed to erase Arcadia from existence. Elena could feel its intent, cold and calculating, aimed at ending them all. This is it, she whispered. Our final test. The golden entity surged forward, a tidal wave of energy. It collided with the Council ship in a blinding explosion of light, force, and sound. The ship faltered, systems failing, but the humans felt no fear, only power, only determination. Elena focused, connecting her thoughts to the entities. We survive. We will not die. Humanity endures, the entity responded, amplifying her intent 1,000-fold. Energy tore through the Council's final weapon, not to destroy but to overwhelm. The ship's systems malfunctioned, weapons turned inward, and it disintegrated in a cascade of golden sparks. Rinthos watched helplessly. The arrogance of the Council, their centuries of pride and control, shattered in a single moment. Humans had done the impossible. They had not only survived, they had triumphed. On the planet, the lab glowed brighter than the sun. Elena and her team stood at its center, the golden entity surrounding them like a protective halo. It was not just a creation anymore, it was a testament to human will, curiosity, and defiance. Marco laughed, relief and exhilaration mingling in his voice. We actually did it. We won, Elena shook her head, smiling. No, Marco, we didn't just win. We've changed everything. The Council mocked us for centuries, called us fragile, weak, mortal, and now they will remember humans forever. We are no longer bound by their rules. We are the ones who define life itself. The golden entity pulsed one final time, sending waves of energy outward, reaching every corner of Arcadia. Life itself seemed to respond, adapting, growing, evolving. Humans had awakened something ancient and boundless, something that would ensure their survival against any odds. Far across the galaxy, whispers spread among other species. The humans of Arcadia had faced death, war, and a council that mocked them, and emerged stronger than any had imagined. The message was clear. Humanity could not be contained, underestimated, or defeated. Elena stood among her team, the golden entity still shimmering around them. This is just the beginning, she said softly. The Council thought they could mock us, control us, or even destroy us. But they were wrong. Humanity survives, humanity evolves, and humanity will endure. The stars above Arcadia shone brighter that night, as if acknowledging the triumph of a species that refused to yield. Humans had challenged death itself, faced the might of the galaxy, and proven that determination, courage, and hope were powers no one could take away. And somewhere, beyond the edge of known space, the Council retreated, forced to recognize the undeniable truth. Humans were no longer just a small, fragile species. They were a force unlike any other, a species that had declared war on death itself and won. The golden entity pulsed one last time, and then, quietly, it settled. It had fulfilled its purpose, to teach, protect, and amplify the will of humanity. Elena turned to her team, her eyes shining with a mix of exhaustion and triumph. We did it, she said simply. We changed the galaxy, and we will never stop. The war was over, not because the galaxy had surrendered, but because humanity had proven that no force, no council, no law of the universe could stand against their will to survive. Humanity had won, and now the galaxy would never forget it.